Video, we're going to go over medical and dental expenses that you can itemize as a tax deduction on Schedule A. At the top of Schedule A, you'll see the entry columns or entry fields where you can include medical and dental expenses. And in order to be able to deduct medical and dental expenses on Schedule A, you must first calculate your adjusted gross income and then calculate 7.5% of that adjusted gross income as determined by line 11 of your income tax return. So if your medical and dental expenses do not add up to at least 7.5% of your AGI, then you won't have any medical and dental expenses to deduct. In this example, for another video, we used $100,000 of adjusted gross income. 7.5% of that $100,000 is $7,500. That is what is known as an AGI floor. In other words, your medical and dental expenses must be at least $7,500, and then you can start claiming any qualified expenses above and beyond that amount. In this example, we claimed a total of $22,500. We subtracted the $7,500 from that amount, which leaves us with $15,000 of deductions that we can itemize. So here are examples of medical and dental payments that you can include on Schedule A. So insurance premiums for medical and dental care. This also includes long-term care insurance, although IRS form instructions do contain a dollar limitation for qualified long-term care insurance premiums based upon age. So that is an amount that is adjusted year after year by the Internal Revenue Service. For example, in tax year 2022, anyone under the age of 40 would be able to claim at most $450 of qualified long-term care insurance premiums, while someone who is age 71 or older would be able to claim up to $5,640 of long-term care insurance premiums. So you can find that information in the form instructions. You must reduce your premiums by any self-employed insurance deductions that you took on Schedule 1. You cannot include pre-tax reductions that were used to pay insurance premiums. And if you're a retired public safety officer, you cannot use premiums that were paid with a tax-free distribution from your retirement plan. So you'll see a common theme is that medical and dental payments are includable as an itemized deduction as long as you're not claiming a tax credit or a tax deduction elsewhere. So you can choose one or the other, but you can never choose both. You can also include the cost of prescription medicines and insulin. You can include that as well. You can include the cost of medical provider appointments to include as specified in the form instructions, acupuncture, a chiropractor, dental care, eye doctor, medical doctor, occupational therapy, osteopathic medicine, physical therapy, podiatry, or mental health. More medical and dental payments that you can also include as an itemized deduction include medical exams, x-rays and lab results, insulin treatments, diagnostic testing, nursing assistance, hospital care, qualified long-term care, Medicare Part B and Part D premiums if you pay them. This includes IRMA, which is the income-related monthly adjustment amount that some taxpayers under Medicare are required to pay based on their income. Smoking cessation programs. This is different from over-the-counter nicotine patches or gum that are not tax deductible. Weight loss programs as prescribed by a doctor to treat a medical diagnosis. For example, obesity. If you participated in a weight loss program on your own, that would not be tax deductible. If you see a doctor and that is a prescription as part of your diagnosis, then you would be able to deduct the cost of that program. Drug or alcohol addiction treatment. Medical aids. This could include glasses, contacts, hearing aids, crutches, wheelchairs, guide dogs, to include the cost of caring for the guide dogs. Eye surgery. Lodging expenses that you incur for medical care. You can claim up to $50 per night. This does not include meals. Ambulance services, breast pumps and supplies, and finally, personal protective equipment for preventing the spread of COVID. So wipes, masks, gloves, things of that nature. This is a list of items that the IRS instructions specifically says you cannot include. These items are almost verbatim from the form instructions. So diet foods. If you are on a weight loss program prescribed by a doctor, you can deduct the cost of that. If you go out and buy a case of Diet Coke, that is not tax deductible. Cosmetic surgery, unless it was required to improve a deformity that was related to a congenital defect, injury, or some sort of disease. You cannot deduct life insurance premiums. You cannot deduct Medicare tax on wages and tips. This also includes the Medicare tax for self-employed individuals, where you can deduct 1/2 of that as the employer. That's tax deductible, but the other half that you pay as an employee is not tax deductible. Nursing care for a healthy child. However, you may be able to claim a tax credit on IRS Form 2441, where you can claim a tax credit for expenses incurred for the care of a qualified child or a dependent. Illegal operations or drugs. Imported drugs that were not approved by the FDA. You cannot include over-the-counter medicines except for insulin. If you obtain insulin that's not prescribed by a doctor. If your doctor recommends that you travel for rest or mental health, that is not tax deductible. And finally, funeral, burial, or cremation costs are not tax deductible as a medical or a dental expense. You may include medical and dental expenses for the following people: yourself and your spouse, any dependent that you claim on your income tax return, a child that you cannot claim as a dependent because of tax rules regarding children of divorced or separated parents. So if you have a child, but they're a dependent of your ex-spouse or your ex-significant partner, you can still pay medical and dental expenses for that child and then claim them as a tax deduction. You can claim medical and dental expenses for any person that you could have claimed as a dependent, except they filed a joint tax return, their income exceeded the limits, or another person who was eligible to claim them as a dependent on a tax return did so. For example, a child that you share with an ex-spouse. You cannot claim expenses under the following circumstances. If you were reimbursed for any expenses, you cannot claim them as a tax deduction. If you paid expenses or health insurance premiums from an employer-sponsored cafeteria plan, unless those costs were included in box 1 of your Form W-2, which marked them as taxable income, you cannot include those expenses. Or if you paid expenses or premiums with tax-free distributions from a health savings account, you cannot include them. Now you can include expenses that you paid with taxable distributions, but you probably would not get the same tax benefit as if you decided to take a tax-free distribution for that qualified medical treatment. So that's pretty much everything we have to cover in the topic of medical and dental expenses. You can check out our show notes for a more comprehensive capture of how to complete Schedule A, as well as any of the other areas on Schedule A. We have separate videos. If you want to read our article where we cover medical and dental expenses plus the rest of Schedule A in more depth, simply go to our website, teachmepersonalfinance.com, type in IRS Schedule A in the search bar, and you should see our article that covers medical and dental expenses and everything else. If you like our articles, please subscribe to our newsletter. And if you like our YouTube videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have any other questions, please hit me up in the comment section. Thank you very much and have a great day.